The stars are right, and that means it's time for another episode of The Whisper in Darkness. I'm your host, the man from Leng. Thank you very much for joining me today. On this episode, I am playing through the second Mythos pack from the Forgotten Age cycle. That's right, we are tackling The Boundary Beyond. It came out a little more than a week ago, and I am really looking forward to bringing this blind playthrough to you. As always, I have not played through this scenario yet, and I'm tackling it completely blind, so this shall be quite interesting to see how we do. We are playing it through again with the Ursula Downs deck that I have been playing the previous Forgotten Age cycle scenarios through with. We earned 5 experience points during the Threads of Fate scenario, and I had 1 XP left over, so I had a total of 6 XP. It was a little bit tricky to decide what I wanted to spend all that XP on. I decided because we ended up with, we were able to add Ichitaka to our deck, that I would go with a copy of Charisma, because we've got 2 copies of Dr. Ellie Horowitz, as well as Ichitaka and Ursula Downs' signature asset, Jake Williams. So that seemed like a good buy. I swapped 1 copy of I've Got a Plan for 1 copy of Persuasion. I think if Persuasion had come out before I had built this deck, I probably would have ended up playing 2 copies of them, but such is life. We will swap in 1 for now. I also upgraded 1 copy of Hyper Awareness to the level 2 version of Hyper Awareness from the Return to the Night of the Zealot product that came out about a month ago. And so hopefully we will be able to draw that one. I didn't have enough experience to swap both. Otherwise, I certainly would have done that. Hopefully we can earn a couple of experience in this scenario, and we will be able to complete that swap and have 2 copies of that upgraded talent in our deck. We also got to add Ichitaka, who we met in Threads of Fate, and the Expedition Journal, as well as the Relic of Ages. Now, because we found the relic during Threads of Fate, we get to upgrade to the Relic of Ages that is in the Boundary Beyond Mythos pack. So it has some special abilities that I can't remember offhand what they do, but I know it has 3 wild icons, and that's pretty sweet all by itself. We also got to add some supplies to our after the Threads of Fate Mythos scenario. We got to gain 8 supply points, so I picked up a copy of some more provisions, because it looks like we're heading back into the jungle. I still had the 2 medicine that I bought earlier. I picked up 1 gasoline, which turned out to be very fortuitous, because it turns out you decide to drive all the way to Mexico City from Arkham. I'm not sure 1 gasoline is enough to make that trip, but it does prevent you from running out of gas along the way. And if you do run out of gas and don't take the gasoline, you cannot mulligan when you draw your opening hand, which would be terrible. Frankly, I cannot possibly imagine driving all the way from Arkham to Mexico City with Ichitaka with you, considering how frosty she is. Even at the best of times, she doesn't seem like the most talkative person, so that would be a pretty quiet ride all the way. I'm not even sure how long it would take back in the 1920s to make a trip like that. Needless to say, you'd be spending quite a few days on the road. I did pick up a blanket this time. That seemed important. We learned our lesson from the Untamed Wilds when we took a trauma. I also picked up the binoculars. Same thing there. Again, we picked up a trauma because we didn't have binoculars, so now we've got them. We've got the compass and the rope from last time, and I decided we had a couple of other choices. There was a pocket knife and a pickaxe. I decided to go with the pickaxe solely because if you have read the H.P. Lovecraft story, The Mound, which prominently features Yig, and I think was the basis for some of this cycle. the protagonist in that particular story does bring a pickaxe along with him. So it seemed important. So we will see what happens with that. Hopefully I hope we don't need it, but if we do, we have a pickaxe along this time. Here is a summary of the campaign so far. The only thing that's new since the last time is that we found the missing relic in Arkham during Threads of Fate. Alejandro, unfortunately, is still missing. As you may remember, we did run into an issue with his kidnappers, and we were simply not in a position to tackle them, so we had to let him go. And we also forged a bond with Ichitaka. I guess we did that while driving all the way to Mexico City. You know, it's Ursula and Ichitaka. It's a girl trip all the way to Mexico City, so they shared beauty tips and I don't know what else. Women talk about on the road together. So I think that's a summary of the campaign so far. So I am really looking forward to getting started with Boundary Beyond. So let's get started here. We are set up and ready to go here in Octagon. We've got Ursula here with her copy of Charisma, so we do have an additional ally slot. I do need to add a mental and physical trauma due to the suffering that she sustained in the Untamed Wild. Now, it is interesting, between Threads of Fate and the Boundary Beyond, you can spend a lot of experience points. I believe it is 5 experience points to get rid of a trauma, which is the first time we've seen that mechanic in the game. 5 experience points is a lot, and I decided I could stick with the one and one for now. Hopefully that won't come back to bite us in the ass later. We have our map set up here. I am not sure why that particular location is on the table, so we will put it back in the exploration deck. We have, the map is pretty straightforward. We have Chapultepec Park, which is Mexico City present day. We've got, it's connected to Coyoacan, I believe is how it's pronounced, Coyoacan. It is, Coyoacan is connected to the temple ruins as well as Zocamilco. Man, I need to brush up on my Aztec pronunciation here. And it's also connected to Zocalo, and Zocalo is connected to both the temple ruins, Zocamilco. I'll just call it Zoc from now on. And Zocalo is also connected to the Metropolitan Cathedral. Now, at the beginning of Boundary Beyond, you get to start at either the Coyoacan or Zocalo. Coyoacan, although not always a part of Mexico City, Coyoacan has always been a historic area marked by narrow cobblestone streets and plazas. The ground shakes as you walk down one of the village's many confined paths, and you suspect there is more that lives below the surface. Or we've got Zocalo, which is the main square in central Mexico City, once the ceremonial center of Tenochtitlan. Stretches before you, silver lightning flashes in the storm clouds overhead, and you are shocked to find a tide of blood swelling over the plaza. The entire city is bizarrely devoid of any life. Well, I like I think I'm going to start at the Plaza of Blood. So let's flip that over and see what it has in store for us. Zocalo has a three-shroud location with 0 clues. It has the Mexico City and present day traits. It has an action: discard cards with a total combined cost of at least 5 from your hand, and you may explore. Draw the top card of the exploration deck. If it is a location with a matching location symbol in the upper left corner, place it on top of this location, taking its place. So that is quite a steep cost. 5 combined cost of at least 5. Wow, that is a steep cost to explore, especially considering the Explore deck does have treacheries in it. So if you fail to explore, you're really burning through your cards. So maybe Zocalo is not the best place to start, but who knows? We'll see. We have Agenda 1A is the boundary broken. Ichitaka is already up and about when you awaken, donning her traditional armor, her bow on her back, and a long blade at her side. Something is wrong, she states cryptically. I only meant to peer through the boundary. Oh, you can't tell me that she's the one responsible for all this. I had Alejandro pegged as the perpetrator here. Her eyes are bloodshot, her face pale as a ghost. You suspect she hasn't slept all night. It matters not, it is time you witness the fate that will befall humanity if we fail. So she screws up. It sounds like Ichitaka has done some worked some magic, and now the boundary between worlds is breaking, and she just sort of passes it off as being okay. I'm not entirely sure it's okay. Anyway, we've got a shroud value of 8, and or not a shroud value, sorry, a doom threshold of 8. So we've got it's quite lengthy as far as agendas go. So we'll have to see, but you never know. We have seen that mechanic in the Doom of Etzli, where the Doom was added to locations in play, so that can really ramp that up. And I do know we have the cultists in this. There are quite a few cultists actually in the encounter deck, including that Wizard of the Order, who will, and all of them, including the Wizard, will speed up the Doom quite quickly. So that's it is 8, but I'm not sure we're going to get to see all of that. It's going to go quite a bit quicker. Act 1A is crossing the threshold. As you depart the hotel, you realize that the landscape of the city has been altered. Silver lightning crackles in the sky overhead, and the earth rumbles deep below your feet. Monstrous polypus entities float just below the clouds. What is going on? You yell to Ichitaka over the whistling wind. What is this place? Our future, she replies enigmatically. Yeah, considering you seem to be the one who brought this upon us, I'm a little concerned. All right, well, it has one objective. It has we can't advance with clues on this one. After the first Tenochtitlan location enters play by exploring successfully, advance. So we need to explore at least once. And there is no explore action on the act, unlike the Untamed Wilds. So we're going to have to use these. I assume we're going to use these locations in play. Zocalo's pretty pricey to do any exploration, so we may be heading over to Coyoacan here as our first action, just to see if that's any better. We are playing the Boundary Beyond on standard difficulty. The skulls, of which there are 2, are -1, -3 instead if you are at an ancient location, which I assume there'll be plenty in the exploration deck. The cultists, of which there are 2, are reveal another token. If you fail, place 1 doom on a cultist enemy, and we know there are the encounter deck is built using a variety of different encounter sets depending on what happened during the previous 2 scenarios. We did add the Narcotic Brotherhood and the Mysterious Cult encounter sets to the deck, which means we've got a lot of cultists, and we've got Mysterious Chanting, which also will add doom and stuff like that. So we have a potential to rocket through this agenda if we're not careful. The tablet we don't have to worry about. There are no tablets, and we've got 1 Elder Thing. It is -4, and if you fail, place 1 clue from the token pool on the nearest ancient location. So I don't know what that means quite yet, but we shall see. We also set aside an enemy at the start of the game. This is Padma Amrita, Cold-Blooded Charmer. She's got 5 fight, 3 health per investigator, and 3 evade. She's a humanoid serpent, servitor, and elite. She's got alert, retaliate, and hunter, so she's got all the bad keywords. She's going to hit you if you try to evade her or attack her and miss. While Padma Amrita is ready, clues cannot be discovered from each ancient location. Okay, so that's going to be tricky if we have to kill her. Or while she is ready. Okay, so we can evade her as well. So as long as she is exhausted, we can deal with her. We can discover clues. That's important to keep in mind. And she has the forced effect. After Padma Amrita attacks you, if you have at least one clue, flip one of your clues to its doom side. Otherwise, take 3 horror. Yikes! That's a dilemma either way. So again, flipping clues to doom side, not good. Sounds like any clues that are on locations may flip to their doom side as well. She is worth 2 victory points, but she also has Vengeance 2, so that'll add to the Yig's Fury if you happen to kill her. We are probably not going to kill her because our strength is so woeful, but you never know. Maybe Ichitaka can lend a hand with her bow and spear, and we can, or her blade, I believe it is, and we can take her down. Looks like we are ready to go. Are you excited? I am definitely excited to bring this game to you. Let's draw our opening hand here. We'll shuffle it up and let's get started here. Enough talk. Let's see how we do with our opening hand, and we will draw. We've got a Pathfinder, a Fieldwork, an Inquiring Mind, a Manual Dexterity, and an Unexpected Courage. Well, we're obviously keeping the Pathfinder. Fieldwork could be very handy. I think we're going to get rid of the 3 skills. We don't need those as urgently. And we will draw 3 cards. There is, speaking of Ichitaka, there she is, the Forgotten Guardian. She's a 4-cost asset. She's got combat, agility, and a wild icon. You get +1 combat +2 instead while attacking an enemy with Victory X, so she can help us attack Padma. So she would bring us, Padma's got a 5 combat, or 5 fight, so we're probably still not fighting her. And we get +1 agility, +2 agility instead while attempting to evade an enemy with Vengeance X, so that's awfully nice. For Ursula, we would be a 6 versus Padma's 3. If we get her into play, and she has the response after you add an enemy to the victory display, exhaust Ichitaka. You and Ichitaka each heal 1 horror. She's got 3 health and 2 sanity. We also get Dr. Ellie Horowitz. Okay, so our charisma is a good pickup. After Dr. Ellie enters play, we can search the top 9 cards of our deck for a relic. We will certainly be doing that. And finally, we end up with a perception, which is not bad. We'll probably be able to use that in short order. We will shuffle our mulligan back into our deck, and we are ready to begin. Let's see how this goes. We will gain our 3 actions. I think as my first action, we're going to get Ellie into play. Spend 3 resources to put Ellie into play. Now, when we did this, I think in Threads of Fate we whiffed on Ellie, so let's see if we can find we will look at the top 9 cards, and I'm hoping we'll see a disc. Not 19, 9. Hopefully we will see a disc, and yes we do. Okay, there's a disc of Itzamna, and it's a relic, so we can put that into play on her, I believe. Enters play, search the top 9 cards of your deck for a relic asset and attach it to her. Shuffle your deck. Nice. So we get a free relic on the first turn. Very nice. I like that. All right. So that's a good start. Let's see. We could also use that Pathfinder, but we're going to need a resource, so we're going to wait a turn, I think, on that. I really don't like the idea of spending 5 cards with a combined cost of 5 to explore. So I am going to move to Koyakan as my second action. Koyakan is a 2-shroud location with 0 clues. It has the Mexico City and present day traits. Take 1 damage or 1 horror. Explore. Draw the top card of the exploration deck if it is a location with a matching location symbol in the upper left corner. Place it on top of this location, taking its place. Okay, that's a little bit easier to deal with. 1 damage or horror. What does Ellie have? She's got we can use her to take a horror. if we want. So let's get this exploration kicked off here. We will shuffle up the exploration deck. We are looking for stars. So we draw a top card. If it is a location with a matching location symbol in the upper left corner, place it on this location. Okay, so we will take that action. Ellie will take the horror for us. And we start discarding locations. Let's see how we do. First is, we get a treachery right off the bat. Peril, this is window into another time. It's a hex. Peril, you must either choose and shuffle an ancient location back into the exploration deck. The present day location underneath it takes its place, or place one doom on the current agenda. This effect can cause the current agenda to advance. Well, we can't do number 1, so we have to do number 2, and that is place a doom on the current agenda, unfortunately. So we are already, like I said, there is always the threat of rocketing through that 8 doom threshold, and we're certainly off to a flying start in that respect. Unfortunately, we did take a horror there and got nothing out of it, so that is unfortunate. Hopefully we will be able to discover a location here quickly. As the Act 1A says, we do need to find the first Tenochtitlan location. It has to enter play. Now, I'm not sure. Yeah, we don't know which one is the Tenochtitlan location, so we'll just have to see. Okay, we go to the upkeep phase. We will draw a card. We get another copy of Fieldwork. Okay, well that could help us. We could discard Fieldwork and 5 though. Man, that's high. We'll gain a resource, add a doom. 2 out of 8, and we will draw an encounter card, which is there's Mysterious Chanting. Place 2 doom on the nearest cultist enemy. If there are no cultist enemies in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a cultist enemy and draw it. Now, the disc has to spawn at my location, so we have to go find ourselves a cultist. And I believe all the cultists add doom. Let's see what the acolytes obviously do. What do there's the Hand of the Brotherhood. Do they add doom? While Hand of the Brotherhood is ready, action and responsibilities on locations and connecting locations cannot be triggered. Don't really like that. After the last clue is discovered from an ancient location, if Hand of Brotherhood is ready, place 1 doom on Hand of Brotherhood. Okay, so you don't add doom to them, at least. We've got the Brotherhood Cultist. They get +1 fight and +1 evade for each doom on it. When you initiate attack against Brotherhood Cultist, place 1 doom on Brotherhood Cultist. And who else do we have? Those are the 2. And then there's just the Wizard of the Order. Okay, so Brotherhood Cultist is a hunter. Interesting. Okay, so he will chase us down. He's only got an evade of 2. And we aren't planning to attack him. So we could buy ourselves some time if we put him out. Yeah, this is a tough choice, not knowing. He's worth a damage. I think what we're going to do... Do we take a doom now and then wait? I think I'm going to take a doom now. Just because if the Acolyte or the Wizard of the Order spawns, they will not spawn on me. Same goes with this, the Hand of the Brotherhood. So I will not be able to use my Well, I think it's a toss-up between empty location, last clue discovered, can't trigger. I really don't like that action or responsibilities cannot be triggered on locations or connecting locations. That really puts us in a bit of a bind because we need to take actions to do these explore checks. So he seems bad. We've got the Brotherhood cultist. We're not going to attack him. He is a hunter, though. So let's grab him. I don't know. He seems to be the most benign. We'll put him over here. We've got a couple of turns. We'll drop him at... oh, no. He will spawn at our location, won't it? Okay, so we can't do that. We could spawn him on us, in which case we would need to evade him. Yeah, okay. Sure, we'll spawn him on us. That will be our turn, or that will be the Mythos phase. That's a tough choice. Yeah, without knowing exactly what any of these locations do, it's a really difficult decision to know which cultist is the right one to grab. Ursula doesn't like cultists regardless, so... Okay, well, it's our turn again, after some humming and hawing there. We've got a 4 versus 2 for the evade check. So we will, I think, go 4 versus 2. We'll just go straight up, see what we get. We get a 0. Okay, so we do evade this Brotherhood guy. He is evaded. 2 actions left. Do we go exploring and see what other kinds of explore actions we can find? Take a damage or a horror. Man, that's going to add up quick. We could take a damage and give it a try. We do have that. Is it ready? If you were not engaged. Okay, so let's do that first. I want to get my Pathfinder into play. That'll be my second action. Okay, so now we've got a free move. If you are not engaged with enemies, exhaust Pathfinder to move. So we can move. We need to figure out what all these locations do. I'm going to head up to the Temple Ruins, I think. I'm going to exhaust Pathfinder. We will move up here. Flip this over. Temple Ruins is a 4-shroud location, Mexico City, present day trade. 0 clues again. Double action. Draw the top card of the exploration deck if it is a location with a matching location symbol in the upper left corner. Place it on top of this location, taking its place. So again, that's where the Explorer is. Double action. We only have 1 action, unfortunately. Can we afford to be taking double actions? Not really. Man, these locations are tough. We could head back to Zocalo. Or we could go finish off this corner, Chapultepec Park and Xochimilco. Double action, man, that's going to chew through things. Let's move back. We need to figure out which is our best play. And the Brotherhood cultist will engage us again. We will draw a card. We will ready our Pathfinder. We will gain a resource, add a doom, and it is our next turn. Turn 3, Mythos phase. We draw. Oh, there's the Serpent of Tenochtitlan. He's got 3 fight, 5 health. Yikes. 3 evade. Humanoid monster serpent. While the serpent is at an ancient location with clues on it, it gains retaliate and alert. Otherwise, it gains hunter. Forced after the serpent of Tenochtitlan deals you damage from its attack. If you are not poisoned, put a set-aside poisoned weakness into play in your threat area. It's worth a victory point and its vengeance 1, and it will hit you for a damage and a horror. This is why we have the Disc of Itzamna to deal with people like this guy. We will discard the disc to get rid of him. So we do not have to deal with that nonsense. We've already got one enemy. Dealing with 2 would be too many. All right. Well, we are back to evading this guy. 4 versus 2. Yeah, that's pretty good. The only bad one is the elder thing. So we're going to go, we'll gain our 3 actions, and we will do another evade. 4 versus 2. Chaos Bag gives us an auto fail. Let's give it another try with our second action. 4 versus 2. Chaos Bag says -2, so we are successful. We will exhaust the Brotherhood Cultist. We've got 1 action remaining. We can use our Pathfinder to zip over to Chapultepec Park. We will flip it over. It's a One Shroud location with 0 clues, Mexico City and present day trait. Forced effect: after you fail a willpower test while at Chapultepec Park, take 1 horror. And explore, test 3 willpower. If you succeed, draw the top card of the exploration deck. Well, that's not much better. Okay, well, and there are no clues on it, so field work is basically useless at this point. Okay, so that's not really, we'd be 3 versus 3. We don't have a ton of willpower icons, so I think we're just going to use our other action to move back. Trying to find the right location to do some exploring, and so far I think Coyoacan is our best bet. So we will ready this Brotherhood Cultist, who's more irritating than dangerous at the moment. We will draw a card. There is our weakness. Call of the Unknown. It's a task. Put Call of the Unknown into play in your threat area. At the beginning of your turn, choose a location other than your location. When your turn ends, if you did not successfully investigate the chosen location this turn, take 2 horror and shuffle Call of the Unknown back into your deck. Okay, so now the shroud value on these locations does matter quite a bit. Temple Ruins is 4. Chapultepec Park is 1. That's a good one, but it's way off the end of the board. Coyoacan is 2. And Zocalo is a 3 right now. So we'll have to figure out what Zocamilco is whether that's worth exploring or not. Okay, we had a Doom. We're up to 4 Doom. Turn 4 Doom. Our encounter card is, it's another window into another time. Peril, you must either choose and shuffle an ancient location back into the exploration deck. The present day location underneath it takes its place where we place 1 Doom on the current agenda. This effect can cause the current agenda to advance. We have to do that one because we don't have any ancient locations in play, so we add another Doom. Boy, oh boy, I have accomplished next to nothing so far this game. And we've already got 5 Doom on the agenda. We have to choose a location with Call of the Unknown. I am planning to go to Zocamilco anyway, so we will go there. First of all, we have to evade the Brotherhood Cultist. We will go 4 versus 2. Chaos Bag says +1, so he is evaded. Alright, that was our first action. We needed to ready Pathfinder. We can use Pathfinder to move to Zokamilko. Zokamilko is a 4-shroud location with 0 clues. While you are at Zokamilko, you cannot gain resources. And it has the action spend 3 resources. Explore. Draw the top card of the exploration deck if it is a location with a matching location symbol. In the upper left corner, place it on top of this location, taking its place. So that really sucks because we only have one resource. I think our best bet is Koyakan, actually. I've looked at almost all the locations except the Metropolitan Cathedral, and I don't know if I want to waste any more time heading over there. So we do get a free investigate action with Ursula. So we need to successfully investigate, or we take 2 horror. So I will... We are 4 versus 4. Let's use our perception on this one to go 6 versus 4. Chaos Bag says there is a cultist, so we reveal another token. Let's take a look at the top card of the Chaos Bag, or the top token. It's an Elder Sign. Okay, that's nice. That's very nice. I think we get a free move out of that. +1, and after this test ends, you may move to a connecting location. Damn right. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so we do draw a card for the perception. There's a magnifying glass. Okay. So we will take the free move to head back to Koyakan. So we actually we've only used 1 action so far, and we've done a bunch of stuff, so that's pretty good action efficiency there. I think we are going to take a damage. Let's take a damage. Take 1 damage or horror to explore. Let's do that now. This will be our second action. And we go exploring, and we get another treachery. Okay, this is timeline destabilization. Test 1 willpower. This test gets +1 difficulty for each ancient location in play. If you fail, take 1 damage and 1 horror, and shuffle timeline destabilization into the exploration deck. So we're going 3 versus 1. And there are no ancient locations in play. That's part of the problem. We haven't been able to get any ancient locations. Okay, so 3 versus 1, or we're going to take a damage and a horror and shuffle it back in. So we really want to pass this. I think we're going to use our unexpected courage on this just to give us a little bit of extra oomph. So we are going 5 versus 1. Chaos Bag says -3. Glad I did that. So we do pass, and we get that timeline destabilization out of there. We've got 1 action remaining. I'm going to do some more exploring. This time we are going to take a horror, I guess. Try to keep ourselves even. And let's see what we need an ancient location to advance our act. So hopefully we will draw one here sooner than later. There is Lake Zamilko, which does not trigger. We need Koyakan, Temples of Tenochtitlan. There's the Sacred Wood. Does that one trigger? Sacred Wood triggers. Okay. So we will shuffle these back into the encounter deck. Or, sorry, the exploration deck. So, because Draw the top card of the exploration deck. If it is a location with a matching location symbol in the upper left corner, place it on top of this location, taking its place. So the Sacred Wood comes into play. All right, what does the Sacred Wood do? It's a 4-shroud location with 1 clue. It's Ancient and Tenochtitlan, which is good because I think we advance. Yes, we will. We will advance our act. After Sacred Wood enters play, each investigator at this location discards the top 10 cards of his or her deck. Ouch. Okay, so we lose an emergency cache. Let's do this up here so I can count. 1 emergency cache, 2 emergency cache, 3 is a disc, 4 is a hyper awareness, 5 is a perception, 6 is logical reasoning, 7 is inquiring mind, 8 is overzealous, glad to see that go, 9 is pathfinder, and 10 is the relic of ages. Okay, so we lose 10 cards. We lost both of our emergency cache. That kind of hurts because we could use the resources for Lake Zamilko. The overzealous, I'm glad to see that out of the way. And the relic. The relic is a relic of ages for stalling the future. It's got 3 wild icons. It costs 2 resources. Item relic traded. It's got a free triggered ability. Exhaust relic of ages. Test willpower or intellect 4. If you succeed, remove 1 doom from the current agenda. If you fail, add 1 doom to relic of ages. Maximum 1 success per game. So that's a once per game. Not sure if it's worth the once per game, but considering how quickly we are going up, it might not hurt. All right, and it has the action. If you have no cards remaining in your deck, discover all of the clues at Sacred Woods. And Sacred Woods is connected to Zamilko and Kapultepec Park, but it is not connected to the temple ruins anymore. Correct? Correct. Okay, so that's an interesting mechanic. We just lost some connectivity here. We can't head to Zakolo or the temple ruins now. We have to go to either Kapultepec Park or Zamilko. Let's see what we do advance our act though, so let's do that now. Act 1B is into the past. In the distance, light seeps through a wide crack in the ground. As you approach it, you realize the chasm is not natural at all. Below, you see the sky as if you were peering into a reflection of the clouds above. Wisps of gray smoke emerge from the chasm, giving off a familiar, bittersweet scent. You step through and resist the urge to vomit as the world spins upside down. When you open your eyes again, you are in another place. Not somewhere, but somewhen. The investigator who just put the Tenochtitlan location into play by exploring successfully must test 4 willpower. If he or she fails, he or she must search the collection for a random basic madness or injury weakness and shuffle it into his or her deck. And it says, note, be aware that location connections are different on Tenochtitlan locations. So we must pass 4 or we are taking another madness or injury. That is bad news. We are only a 3 willpower and we have no willpower icons besides Ichtaka. So we are just relying on whatever the encounter deck gives us. So let's see what it is. Do we get a +1, Chaos Bag? Are you going to be kind? No, Chaos Bag says -5. You're going to fail that test and you're going to fail it hard. So we are searching for a random basic madness or injury. Let us shuffle up our deck and we will just start drawing cards and see what we get. Drawing the Sign is a madness. So first off, we get Drawing the Sign basic weakness, Pact Madness. Put Drawing the Sign into play in your threat area. Your maximum hand size is reduced by 5 while checking your hand size during the upkeep phase. And it has the double action discard Drawing the Sign. So we shuffle that into our deck, and that will be with us for the rest of the campaign, unfortunately. So that is that's fairly painful for failing that test. We do advance to Act 2A, though, past and present. Is this real or a vision? Either way, the secrets of the ancients may hold the key to finding the nexus of Nakai. And it has the objective: find paths to the nexus by discovering all of the clues from as many different Tenochtitlan locations as you can before time runs out. If there are 6 Tenochtitlan locations in play with no clues on them, advance. Okay, well, so we need 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's every location in play. We need to discover all the clues in play, or just do as well as we can until we fail. Very well. Okay, so we go to our upkeep. The Brotherhood cultist will ready. So we can grab a clue at Sacred Woods. We also need to find... Boy, oh boy, this is going to be tricky. Especially with our weakness in play. Ready Pathfinder. Well, let's just see what we draw. We draw a deduction. We gain a resource. We will add a doom and draw an encounter card, which is, there is another timeline destabilization. Test 1 willpower. This test gets +1 difficulty for each ancient location in play. If you fail, take 1 damage and 1 horror and shuffle it back into the exploration deck. Wow, so that's going to go into the exploration deck should we screw this up. Wow, this is hurting. This is not Ursula's forte, these willpower checks. So it's going to be 3 versus 2. Let's see what we do. 3 versus 2. Chaos Bag says another -5. That is a hard fail. So we will take a damage and a horror, and we will shuffle Timeline Destabilization into the exploration deck. We just got rid of that out of the exploration deck, so that's going back in. That sucks. I am going to put the damage and horror on Dr. Ellie. She has done her job for this game, so she will go away. Okay, we have to choose a location for Call of the Unknown. I believe we will call... Man, we just don't have we don't have the willpower icons to deal with this, with Chapultepec Park. And we don't have the resources to deal with Xochimilco. That is not good. Well, we'll call Chapultepec Park just because it's got a shroud value of 1. So that will be easier for us to investigate this turn. We need to get rid of this Brotherhood dude. Whoops. We need to add actions. There we go. All right, first action, 4 versus 2. Chaos Bag says Skull. That's a -3. So we fail. Ouch, that hurts. Second action, we will try it again. -1. We are successful this time. He is exhausted. And we've got 1 action remaining. We could grab the... We can drop I think what we'll do, we're going to spend a resource to play our magnifying glass, which is fast. So we get +1 while investigating. So we're 5 versus 4. So we will use our third action to go 5 versus 4 at the Sacred Woods. Do we have anything else we can do? I think we're just going to have to go 5 versus 4, see what happens. Chaos Bag says Cultist. That's bad news. That's a draw another token, and if we fail, we place a doom on a cultist enemy. So we will look at the top of the Chaos Bag, and we do get another cultist. Okay, so we're going to be adding 2 doom to a cultist in play if we fail this. Let's look at the top 2 and see what happens. -5 again. That's the third -5 this game, for those of you who are keeping count at home. So we fail that test, and we add 2 doom to the Brotherhood enemy, or the Brotherhood cultist. He now gets +1 fight and +1 for evade for each doom, so he's a lot more difficult to evade. But fortunately, we're going to advance here anyway this turn. However, our turn is not over. We can use Pathfinder to path over to Chapultepec Park. Then we can use our free investigate action to investigate. 5 versus 1. Chaos Bag gives us a skull. That's a -1. So we do satisfy Call of the Unknown for this turn, which is good. Whether we can actually pass an explore test there is another matter entirely. Okay, so the Brotherhood cultist readies during our upkeep. Let's bring him to the front so we don't forget about him. And we will draw a card. There's Jake Williams, our other ally. If we can ever get him into play, that would be great. We will add a resource, and we will be adding a doom, and we are advancing this turn, so we will remove the 2 doom from the Brotherhood cultist, and we are advancing to Agenda 1B. Agenda 1B is the Harbinger's Pursuit. Check the campaign log. If the Harbinger is still alive, well, of course he's still alive. He's got like 10 health. Following no telltale flash of light, a sudden explosion of thunder blasts across the sky, causing you to jump in shock. As though drawn from the sound, a streak of silver lightning crashes down from the clouds, ripping a tear in the world before you. Through this tear, a familiar creature emerges. It hisses in anger and raises its gilded spear to attack. Search the collection for the Harbinger of Velusia and spawn it at the location farthest from all investigators. If there are 6 or more tally marks under Yig's Fury in your campaign log, it enters play at the lead investigator's location instead. It enters play with damage on it equal to the amount of damage recorded in parentheses in your campaign log. Wow, this is really elaborate and requires a lot of referencing the campaign log. I didn't do any damage to it, so that's easy enough, but I am going to have to go and fetch myself a Harbinger, so I am going to have to create a new deck for quickly here, and go grab myself a Harbinger. We will drop him in, I guess. We'll just put him here. We'll save that deck, and we will be bringing a Harbinger into play. That is more bad news for us, because he's a big brute who hits hard and has Hunter and Alert and Retaliate, all of the keywords for this in this particular cycle. I haven't finished this scenario yet, but it seems hard. Just saying. It seems like it's fairly difficult compared to certainly Threads of Fate. I never felt really out of control in Threads of Fate. I feel quite out of control in this one and sort of feel like I am really up against it. However, where did the Harbinger go? There he is. All right, so we've got a Harbinger. He shows up with 0 health on him, enters play at the 6 immortality. He does not enter play at our location, but farthest from us. So he is at the Metropolitan. So that's interesting because now he cannot reach us. We are in Chapultepec Park, but he can go green. Can he get to us? That's a good question. He can go there. Oh, yes, he can. He can go up through the temple ruins and down to Sacred Wood that way and get to us. So, yes, indeed, he can reach us. Okay, well, that's more badness to this game. We've got the Harbinger to deal with now as well. We advance to Agenda 2A. The barrier is thin. Ichtaka's strength continues to wane as you journey through the strange vision. You've never seen her this troubled. She is often distracted, peering about as though any moment the answer will appear before her. From time to time she mutters strange phrases to herself. How could this have happened? The answer will be with the ancients. Someone else is here, I know it. And it has a doom threshold of 5. Boy, does discovering the clues on all 6 Tenochtitlan locations seem like a very distant goal at this point in the game. We're going to have to evade the Harbinger twice at least in order to get rid of him. We've got this other Brotherhood cultist who is going to be tracking us down. And yeah, we've got a lot to do. And we've got to deal with this stupid weakness of ours, which is going to add to our problems. And we get to draw another encounter card. So let's see how much this is going to pile onto us here. Counter card is another window into another time. How many of these bloody things are there? Again, choose and shuffle an ancient location back into the exploration deck. Or we add a doom. We only have one ancient location in play and we still have a clue on it, so I can't really I really don't want to shuffle anything in, so let's add the doom. All right, we are going to... We get our 3 actions. We need to pick a location for Call of the Unknown, which is going to be... Koyak? Oh, no, we can't choose that one. We got to choose the Sacred Wood. Yeah, I guess we'll do that. We got to deal with this guy, though, or we're going to take... Problem is, if we move Ursula over, we're going to take an attack of opportunity from the Brotherhood cultist. Or do we just explore, but we don't really have what we need to explore? Man, we're just... this is really rough. Okay, well... The Harbinger is coming after us. We don't have to deal with him for a while, though. If we drop a field work... We could... if we have a clue, we could exhaust it to get +1 skill value. That's okay, but we need to take an attack of opportunity from the Brotherhood cultist if we wanted to use that on our investigate. Is it worth it? At this point, I think it is. I'm going to do it. If we can gain a few more resources, we can get one of our other allies in play. I'm going to play a fieldwork as my first action. As I'm going to use my Pathfinder to move to a connecting location. Now I could add it there, or I could add it to that, I could either do the agility action or the investigate action. I am going to exhaust field work to get +2 skill value on my free investigate. That is going to cost me an attack of opportunity, so I'm going to take a horror. However, I am going 4, 5, 6, 7 versus 4. Chaos Bag says there's a skull. That's a -3, so fortunately we do succeed. 7 versus 4. So we got it. We also fulfilled Call of the Unknown this turn, so that's good. We still have 2 actions remaining. We can evade the Brotherhood Cultist. We can go... which way is easier? 3 resources or a bad test? I think we got to go 3 resources. Jeez, it's tough with so many enemies, and we did dodge a bullet when we used that disc to get rid of the serpent. Otherwise, we'd be in real trouble here. Let's go 4 versus 2. That's a -3, so that is a failure with a skull. Let's do it again. And we get a -1, so he is exhausted. Okay, well that took us a whole turn, but we did manage to... clear the Sacred Wood. So, hooray, we've cleared 1 ancient location. We go to the enemy phase. The Harbinger moves to Zakolo. Go to upkeep. Brotherhood Cultist readies and engages us. We ready our Pathfinder and our fieldwork. We will draw a card. There is a Dr. Ellie Horowitz. Okay, that is a useful source of a willpower icon, I think, at this point. We will gain a resource, add a doom. We are at 2 of 5. It's turn 7. And our encounter card will be another Brotherhood Cultist. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. That hurts. I really need to be able to kill these guys, and I just don't have the goods at the moment. Again, 2 fight, 3 health, and 2 evade. Humanoid Cultist Hunter. Brotherhood Cultist gets +1 fight and +1 evade for each doom on it. When you initiate an attack against Brotherhood Cultist, place 1 doom on the Brotherhood Cultist, and he will hit you for a horror. At this point, I'm kind of wishing I did take the Acolyte. I think that would have been a better choice just because I could have stuck him at Metropolitan Cathedral and not worried about him. However, that's what happens when you do a blind playthrough. Sometimes you make decisions that you really regret in the end, and that's one of them I'm regretting right now. However, we have our 3 actions, and we are going to be having to evade a bunch of guys. We really need the persuasion in our deck at this point to get rid of one of them. Unfortunately, Ursula is not like the other, doesn't have access to a survivor card like Survival Instinct, so she can evade all the enemies at her location. That would be really handy right about now. Okay, we've got to pick a location for Call of the Unknown. So if we go to Zokamilko, the Harbinger can get us there. he can go there and then there. So he can go to either the Temple Ruins or Zakamilko and then up to Sacred Woods. How are we going to deal with him, though, with 2 hunters on the table? Man, oh man. Chaka doesn't help us either. She just gives us health. All right, well, we've got to evade twice. I'm going to call Kapultepec Park just because it's a 1 and we can get there. So first evade action, we're going 4 versus 2. Chaos Bag gives us another skull. That's a -3, so that's a failure. We will try it again. Chaos Bag gives us a cultist. So we have to draw another token. And it is a -2, so we do succeed there. We do not have to add a doom to a cultist. So one of them is exhausted. And we will have to take another action to evade this guy, the other Brotherhood cultist. I think I'm going to pitch something to this one because I really want to get out of here. We're going to go 5 versus 2 this time. Chaos Bag gives us a -2, so we do succeed. And he is evaded. And we can use our Pathfinder to move over to Kapultepec Park, and we can use our free investigate to go 5 versus 1 to get a -2 from the Chaos Bag, which will solve Call of the Unknown. Boy, oh boy, this is brutal. This is brutal. And there's no resign option anywhere. Man, oh man. All right, well. At this point, we need to plan to deal. We're going to have to take a hit from somebody. The Brotherhood cultists are hunters. They're going to give chase. Now, maybe if we can... No, because it's going to... I was hoping maybe Kapultepec Park would knock out Sacred Wood, but the park, Sacred Wood, is connected to the park, so that's not going to help us. Okay, Harbinger moves. Harbinger heads up to Temple Ruins. Both of the Brotherhood cultists ready. And we will go to... we will ready our Pathfinder. We will draw a card. There's a manual dexterity. Gain a resource. Add a doom. And it is turn 8. Our encounter card for this turn is going to be another enemy. Oh dear. Hand of the Brotherhood. 2 fight, 2 health, 2 evade. Humanoid cultist. He spawns at any empty location. After the last clue is discovered from an ancient location, if Hand of Brotherhood is ready, place 1 doom on the Hand of the Brotherhood. So that's any ancient location. And while he is ready, you may not take the action or response abilities on its location and connecting locations. So he is a real pain in the ass. We will put him at the Metropolitan Cathedral. So we can still use the action here at... so, yeah, we've got 2 turns until that Harbinger shows up. Okay, well... tough choices all around here. We could try... If we fail a willpower test at Kapultepec Park, we will take a horror. But we need to make a willpower test to explore. Unfortunately, the exploration deck is not our friend, because there are still a couple of treacheries in there. And we need to gain some resources. And we're going to take 2 horror this turn because of... Okay. We've got to pick something for Call of the Unknown. This is where the small map has really started to hurt us. I think I'm just going to have to let it go at this point. I'm going to have to take the 2 horror because I cannot... I really don't want to go back to the Sacred Wood. The enemies are just taxing my actions too greatly at this point. So maybe we can get another... we can discover another ancient location. Let's give that a try. We're going 4 versus 3. Jake or gain a resource. So if we gain a resource, we need an ally down to take care of the Harbinger for a turn. Or we're just going to get run over. We're going to be taking so much horror here that it's not even funny. Let's gain a resource first. I am going to... put Jake into play. Or do I want her instead? Yeah, we want Ichtaka instead. Because she gives us the extra evade against vengeance enemies, which the Harbinger is 1. Oh, but we got to gain 2 resources to do that. So we'll gain 2 resources and then put Ichtaka into play, which is our turn. Yeah, this is bad news. Okay, well, we got to get her into play so we can try to deal with the Harbinger. We're going to take a lot of horror here shortly. Okay, well, we that was our turn, so we gained 2 resources, so we had 4 resources. Then we played Ichtaka. We do have a free move, but that's not going to help us very much with the Pathfinder. So during the enemy phase, when does Call of the Unknown hit us? At the beginning of your turn, when your turn ends. So as soon as our turn ends, we take 2 horror. And we shuffle Call of the Unknown back into our deck. Ouch. So we're going to take 4 horror this turn. Nasty. Yeah, I think we're not going to make it here. So we will go... The 2 Brotherhood cultists engage us. We take 2 more horror. 6 versus... So we've got 6 horror and we've got 1 left on Ichtaka. This game is rapidly... We are running out of time. And unfortunately we are... the small map is not helping us any. Okay, well... It's the upkeep phase. We get to draw a card, which is the Expedition Journal. That's not going to help us. Or that's actually really good in this scenario. You may take an additional action during your turn, which can only be used to explore. That's quite handy. I wish we'd seen it earlier. We draw and we gain a resource. We will add a Doom, which we did not do. And we will draw an encounter card. Turn 9. Mysterious Chanting. Place 2 Doom on the nearest cultist enemy. That is one of the Brotherhood cultists. So we add 2 Doom there. And that is going to be that will be the Mythos phase. We are advancing next turn whether we want to or not. I don't think we moved him, did we? No, we didn't. We need to move the Harbinger. Harbinger moves over here to Sacred Wood. The Sacred Woods. Okay, well, I think this is it here. We've got enough for 2 evade actions, move, then evade again. And then we're going to have to evade again and get yeah, we are in deep trouble here, boys and girls. But we'll do our best. I think we're going to take a mental trauma. So let's see what we can do here. We've got 2 evade actions. We've got a, actually we don't have to call for Zamilko, which is, or for Call of the Unknown, which is nice. We will use our first action to evade. We will use our manual dexterity on that one. We will go 6 versus, he's +2 evade, so he's a 4. So we're going to go 6 versus 4. Chaos Bag says -5. That's the 4th -5 this game. And I think that's game because I cannot, can I not take enough? Yeah, I really needed to pass that. Ouch. That -5 came back and hurt me bad there. Oh, I get +1. Does that help us from Ichitaka? No, because he's a 4, we're a 6, 7. 7 versus 4. -5 is still too much, so that really sucks. And that is probably game because I can only take 2 more actions, and the Harbinger is going to hit us next turn. We can drag it out, I think, another turn, but so second action, we're just going, I'll pitch Jake to this test. So we'll go 4 versus 2, or 4 versus 5 versus 4. Chaos Bag says 0. Could have used that last time. So he is exhausted. And we've got 1 action left. We will go 4 versus 2 this time because he has no doom on him. Chaos Bag says +1. I could have used any of those earlier. Okay, he's exhausted. I'm going to exhaust. What's the Harbinger? He's a 3. Yeah, I'm going to exhaust that to move back to the Sacred Wood. And unfortunately, I don't have an action I can take to evade the Harbinger, so he's just going to hit me for 2 damage and 2 horror. Or no. Oh, shoot. So if I can't take 2 horror. Oh, I'm dead anyway. I'm dead regardless. Okay, yeah, so I die this turn. I didn't realize I needed to pass that first evade check in order to have another action available to evade the Harbinger. Unfortunately, I did not, and the Harbinger will move in and kill me. So I will take a mental trauma, unfortunately. And that will end Boundary Beyond. Wow, that is a... first impressions. Wow, that is difficult. Going in and not knowing what any of these locations do offhand is... that's pretty difficult because it's hard to find. I honestly wasn't sure which one is the best one for Ursula to go at. The Zocalo seems like the worst of them all because you've got to discard a combined cost of 5. That's going to be extremely difficult to maintain. That's a lot of cards. So if you screw that up, and it's so easy to do because there are treacheries in the exploration deck, Um, yeah, you're going to burn through your hands super fast. Taking 2 actions at the temple runes, that's really that's very intensive. Sacred wood, or sorry, Koyakan, a damage or a horror. That one seems like the easiest of the bunch for Ursula anyway. Kapultepec Park is not ideal for her because you've got to pass that willpower test. And if you have to do that repeatedly, you're going to rack up the horror. And then Zokamilko, you've got to spend 3 resources. So this is, this just seems really difficult in solo. I think if I was playing this in multiplayer, it would be much, much easier because, I mean, if you've got 4 players, say, or 2 players even, you can spread out a little bit. You can take, you can send, if you're playing Agnes, say, send Agnes over to Kapultepec Park, she can pass those tests easily. Everybody can pick their strengths. If you've got a rogue who's generating resources up the wazoo, they can go to Zokamilko. The Temple Ruins isn't really ideal for any investigator. I'm curious to see what Metropolitan Cathedral does. Let's just check here. It is take 1 horror to draw 2 cards if you have 6 or more cards in your hand. Okay, well that one's probably the easiest. So if I had to play this again, I would definitely I'd start at Zocalo and then head to Metropolitan Cathedral. That's probably the easiest one to hit right off the bat, and then the others you'd have to work your way from towards. I'd probably say Metropolitan is the easiest, followed by Koyakan for Ursula anyway. Zocalo's really hard, and Kapultepec is not ideal either. So yeah, that was I did make that mistake at the beginning. I should have just taken the Acolyte for the Doom, because then he could have sat at Metropolitan Cathedral and just sat there, and I wouldn't have had to worry about him. That would have given me more turns to to play around over here and maybe explore a couple more of these places. Unfortunately, drawing that other Brotherhood cultist, I didn't have another disc handy, so I would have had to have dealt with him, and then with the Harbinger showing up right when he did. That also just adds to the pain this scenario piles on. And of course, I had my weakness, which is a real pain in the butt, because I was going to take 2 horror at some point. It's just a matter of when I was able to play around it a little bit. But again, that's chewing up actions. I would rather be doing other things. So this, I'm looking forward to playing this one again with Ursula to see if I could play it any better. I'm not sure what a mental trauma is going to cost us, but I can imagine that only discovering 1 Tenochtitlan location isn't going to bode well, considering we needed to discover as many as we could, and finding 1 is not quite good enough. So we'll find out how what that is going to do to us in Heart of the Elders, which is the 3rd Mythos pack in this cycle. Yeah, I think this is a tough one solo anyway. I think it's probably a lot easier in multiplayer, but in solo, this is a real bear, depending on which investigator you're playing with. I think you could really, it's going to be tough to get I don't think you could get all 6. I mean, you'd really need to have some horseshoes if you were to get all 6. And certainly I wasted a lot of time at the beginning just finding out what all these locations did. And I think on the second run through, I would certainly do much, much better. Anyway, an interesting, very interesting scenario, very challenging scenario. I like challenging scenarios, so I'm looking forward to playing this one again with Ursula and some of the other investigators I have been playing through this cycle with. Unfortunately, all Ursula is walking away with from this scenario is a mental trauma and another weakness in her deck, the drawing the sign that we drew. So, unfortunately, not a great scenario for us this time. But I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. And it is blind after all, so if I did make any mistakes, please point them out in the comments below. I apologize ahead of time. It can be tricky to manage this when you're playing through a scenario for the first time and you really have no idea what you're walking into. But thanks again for watching. That's going to do it for this episode. If you enjoyed what you hear, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you'd like to contact me, I could be reached at manfromlang@gmail.com. I'm also on Twitter at manfromlang. Until the stars are right, keep your shotgun close and your elder sign closer. Take care out there, and happy investigating.